Well, hey, Minorcan Navy. Everybody's kind of got their eyes on Ian as this hurricane is beginning to make its turn and kind of cruise up into the Gulf. And the steering mechanism for that storm is a ridge of high pressure. We're going to show you some progs here to kind of understand how this system is going to be affected by this high that's in place, but then also what I think is going to happen with a front that becomes stalled. Now, I by no means encourage anyone to take any other action than what is recommended by the local officials. I will say this, that if you are prone to flooding in your area, have a plan together. And if it looks like you may possibly be in a situation, be ready to go. It means, you have fuel in your car, some SpaghettiOs, maybe some board games and some puzzles for the kids. But have some arrangements made, possibly with other family members or friends, where you can go and maybe make a pallet of out in the living area for the kids, and possibly be able to just go and have some distractions for them, kind of take their minds off of what's going on with the storm. It's going to be a big storm, and I really feel for the folks over on the west coast of Florida, particularly in the Tampa area. It looks like those guys are really going to be in for shellacking. We hope for the best for them, and hope that everyone is over there making preparations right now for this pending storm. Now on to our progs. Now, these progs are starting late Tuesday and running through Thursday. But here in this first one, we can see the hurricane right there at Cuba, and already starting to see that some of these impacts from a very strong storm are beginning to affect Florida. And I want you to notice that blue line there. That's part of that high pressure that is centered about the middle of the United States there. And this is going to actually be the device that kind of steers this hurricane. This line is going to kind of push it inland and kind of up Florida as it tries to go up. This is almost like two water balloons colliding when they'll kind of wrap up in each other. But here you can see that front now has become stationary. And when you see that happening, you know that this hurricane is going to slow down. It is going to start moving at a snail's pace. It is going to continue to be producing rain from those offshore bands as they come in. They are going to come back and impact that frontal line. You take into account that the wind that's going to be kind of forced along not only the coastline there and into the Georgia Bight. That's what we call that part of the Georgia coastline is the Georgia Bight. It is the westernmost point on the Atlantic coastline of the United States. But right there, that wind is going to kind of fight down that boundary, and it is going to dump an incredible amount of rain, say between the St. Augustine area and somewhere between Savannah and Charleston. It's just setting up for a classic just deluge here in coastal Georgia, North Florida, and the southern part of the low country of South Carolina. But you can see through those progs that we're probably going to be in for some crazy weather. And I don't think we're going to have so much of a crazy wind event, because that same line that is kind of steering the hurricane over Florida is also going to be shearing that storm, and it's going to start to lose a lot of its punch, not only because it is over Florida, but because it's going through that frontal boundary and encountering that, and it's going to cause some upper level shear that is really going to take some of the bite out of it, which is a good thing. Again, but it's going to slow it down. We are going to see moisture continue to be picked up by those bands as they kind of circle around Florida and back up into Georgia and South Carolina. and bring additional moisture up there to that frontal boundary, and it's going to shove a good bit of rain back down on us. So we're expecting that. That said, I wanted to share with you guys some photos from one of the grocery stores here on St. Simons today, as people have begun hurricane preparations somewhat. As you can see here, the water is gone, but the beer aisle is still very well purveyed. So things aren't completely out of hand here yet. All right. Hey, that's about all we've got for today. If you're in the path of this thing, this is nothing to sneeze at. This is probably going to be something unlike what the West Coast, that Tampa area, has encountered in a very long time. Get out of there. You guys do what you got to do to find some shelter. It's going to be, once the storm hits, it's going to be too late. But go ahead and get out of there if you can. Hey, if there's nothing else here, we want you guys to stay safe out there.